Last time on the FXNT Modpack, I upgraded my backpack. And look how shiny it is. I then went on an adventure for some kelp. Why am I always riding a horse through dense forest? It's the worst place to ride a horse. And I built a mobile iron farm, which has been sat running all of this time and should have a whole bunch of iron inside of it. It hasn't been running all of this time. This hasn't been loaded at all because it's not chunk loaded, and I haven't been online because I've been busy reading your comments and realizing how stupid I am. And to demonstrate how stupid I am, we need to head back to my creative test world, which has had a couple of upgrades. If you remember in the last video, we spent an awful long time building things in creative outside, and that's no good. Why would I build outside when I've got a beautiful garage to play in? But unfortunately, these little garages, which we're using for demonstrating all of the things in this mod pack, are just too small for creative testing. So I've extended the entire thing a long way and made a really long garage with plenty of space for testing things. And then I copied that and made another one, which is even longer. It goes all that way back there. Plenty of space for testing things and building things in creative so I can figure out how they work, even though apparently I need the comments to tell me exactly how to do it properly. Because while building this mobile iron farm in the last episode, I got absolutely stuck into believing that the best way to add water and lava into our cobblestone generator was with a convoluted selection of pumps and tanks and pipes and gears and inverted clutches. I couldn't see the woods for the trees, because of course the simplest way to do any of that would just be to have a couple of dispensers and a button. And so therefore, this is the one we've got on our actual survival world, and I've replaced all of the gubbins in the top with a couple of dispensers, which work very nicely. All you have to do to disable it is press this button here and the water and the lava get sucked away. And if you want to turn it on again, you press it and the water and the lava come back. It works perfectly, and it also takes up hardly any space compared to the other one. So I thought maybe then I could maybe expand this and have 3 cobblestone generators and generate myself a whole bunch more iron, which is exactly what this is. Unfortunately, this does go a block higher than the other one, which isn't particularly ideal. And because we're now waterlogging drills instead of leaf blocks, when I press the button to dispense the water, it rushes all the way across, so if I was to have lava in there, that lava would get turned into obsidian. So it's not quite as easy. It's not just one lever or one button to press. First of all, I need to press this button to release the lava to allow that to spread across, and then I need to come over here and release the water in order to create cobblestone and not turn my lava into obsidian. But it works, and it works very nicely. The other downside to this one is the fact that this one actually uses 11,000 stress units, whereas this little one here only uses 3,500 stress units, which is a lot better for a mobile iron farm. And there is one other problem with the bigger one, and that is that the bigger one has to float. It can no longer have bogies because they get in the way of the belts and the gubbins that I need to actually run this, which means if I wanted this to be a mobile iron farm, i.e. on a train like the other ones, this entire thing would need to be another block higher, taking it out of the scope for what's acceptable, or what I've deemed acceptable, for my mobile farms. So I'll be taking what we've learned from this one, rebuilding it onto the survival world, and this will be what we've got going forward. But it won't, because I've been doing some thinking about these mobile farms. I love the idea of having all of the farms that I need on a train. Lots of carriages with lots of farms doing all of that good stuff. And thanks to one of the mods we've got on here, I can make this even better. What mod is it? It's the Ender Storage mod, which I accidentally called Ender IO in the first episode. This mod allows you to teleport items across any distance from these different Ender chests, which you can color code so that they match. If you've got a matching pair, or even, several of these with the same things, each one of them will have the same inventory inside of it, which means if you're feeding items into one, you can take them out of another. And that means if I've got a whole train's worth of carriages, I don't need to have my cobblestone generator inside of my iron farm carriage. I can have my cobblestone generator in its very own carriage, and then just have all of the cobblestone go into one of those ender chests, and then pull the cobblestone out of that ender chest and into my iron farm, and that sounds exciting to me. So yes, I am going to be improving our cobblestone generating system, but it's going to get its own carriage. And we'll come to that later in the video, because right now I need to actually go into survival and do some work. And what work are we going to be doing today? Well, I want to build a mobile gold farm, of course. But before we do that, I need to get some food. As much as I've had a little bit of food from going around killing things and an awful lot of apples, I could really do with a more sustainable source of food. Something like golden carrots. Hence that mobile gold farm. And if we're going to be making golden carrots, then really I should be thinking about potentially making a mobile vegetable farm. However, I've been doing even more thinking about this Let's Play and how this world's going to go. If you remember in the first episode, I asked you all where I should locate my main base. And the options were a very, very beautiful looking mesa, a huge mushroom island, the enormous snowy mountains and the hills around them, and a massive lake surrounded by almost every single biome in the game. And most of you picked Mesa, with a whole bunch of you picking the Mushroom Island. A couple of you picked the mountains, and a couple of you picked the lake. But also a couple of you suggested something else that I was thinking myself after the first few comments came through, and that is, if we're having a mobile train that's got all of our farms on it, why don't we live everywhere? Why don't we, instead of having one big main base, live across the land? So, for example, we would build our train track to somewhere useful, like a forest, where we could have a lumber mill, and then we might take it somewhere else like the Mesa and build a big old mining complex and gold mine, of course. And then we could go over to the Mushroom Island and build a giant workshop and storage system, and then we could go to the lake and do lakey things. I really like this idea. I like the idea of being a traveling nomad with my main farms on my train and all of the big farms and industrial things spread throughout the world along a train track. I love this idea. That means our starter area in the house that I didn't build, that I stole, would make a really good area for a farm. And this could be our first area where we go to with a like little train station where we can park our big long train and have vegetable farms and all that sort of thing. So that's my plan today, to turn this area into a farm and have lots and lots of automated food coming in. So that's a lot of stuff to do today, so I better get cracking. So the first thing I need to do in order to turn this little area into a farm is to move my train, because it's going to be right in the way of where I'm going to be planting all of the crops. In order to move this train, however, I'm actually going to turn it into an engine and not a carriage. And I know it's not a train because there's no engine and it's just a carriage, but it's easy to refer to it as a train. People understand that and they know what I mean. So I guess I'm going to need to make some train controls in order to move it. And a seat. However, I think I got a seat from one of the buildings that we raided. I did. And train controls are a precision mechanism with some train casing and a lever. I have a train casing. It's easy enough to craft a lever, but precision mechanisms, on the other hand, are not quite so easy. And we're going to do it the lazy way rather than setting up an entire system to do it, which means I need a deployer, which I know I've got because I used it recently in order to make the track. There they are, deployers. So as usual, I'm going to steal this little depot here, put that around about there, stick a deployer on top of it, and then just connect that to a bit of power. Then I'm going to need to craft up some shafts, make a bunch of small cogwheels, make a bunch of large cogwheels, and turn a bunch of iron into some iron nuggets. Then all I need to do is put a bit of gold sheet on there, and we're just going to alternate between small cogs, big cogs, and then iron nuggets a few times until this thing either turns into a precision mechanism or it dies. Hey, we got one. Hurrah! I've made an advancement. And I'm going to try and make 4 of these in total, so I've got some spare, and we're just about there. And yes, we made all 4 without breaking any of them. Wonderful. That means now I can craft my train controls, and grabbing a bunch more track, I can go and turn my mobile iron farm into an actual weird-looking train and move it somewhere. And we don't need that on there anymore. What we do need to do is turn off the water and the lava, so it doesn't all pour out when I disassemble this thing. Then I need to glue it all together and come all the way to the top there, and that should get absolutely everything. We'll put the controls there and the seat there. That should allow me to turn this into a train. It did. And now if I extend this track over in this direction, let's say to about there, I should be able to hop on board and drive it. Or not. I can't click on the train controls for some reason. Why can't I not click on the train controls? I got on this, and now oh, no, yep, I'm kind of, oh, geez. No, I got out. Why can't I click on the train controls? Oh, I can from here. I just can't do it from the seat. Well, this is going to be weird then. I'm gonna have to push my train manually. This is fine. And there we go. Eventually, we've brought that all the way to the end of the track, which means if I move the station over there, I can get it put back together again and get it generating iron. And there we go. Just a couple of minutes later, that's all set back up again, generating iron. And now we've got a big old space around here, ready to build a farm on. Well, this is interesting. Apparently the wandering trader has come, and that is setting the noise of my doors off, but they're not actually doing anything. Apparently the wandering trader can open doors. Will you stop it, sir? Go in there and stop opening doors. And you've got some podzol. Podzol could be good. Don't run away. I'm trying to buy things from you, sir. I want your podzol. Thank you very much. 9 podzol. What a deal. Right, anyway, where was I? Ah, yes. So I've been planting a bit of a temporary farm just to throw down every different type of crop that I've got in order to generate them in a little bit higher quantities so that we can plant proper farms and have them fully automated. Now, if you don't already know, the vanilla tactic of growing things in line actually does make them grow faster. And also, I've grabbed a couple of beehives that I'd stored over there from the trees that were in this area, thrown those down so we can get some bees helping with pollination. But there's a couple of other things that I want to grow, and those are mushrooms. But in order to grow those, I need some rich soil, which is not the easiest thing to craft. In order to get rich soil, you basically need to make organic compost, put it out in the sun, make it wet, and add mushrooms to it to make it really turn into rich soil nice and quickly. Alternatively, you can get some organic compost and pour some liquid fertilizer on it, and liquid fertilizer is a bucket of liquid fertilizer, which is organic compost and water. So basically, if we double up the amount of organic compost we've got, we can make liquid fertilizer and then make our rich soil a lot quicker. But the organic compost is the tricky part. That's because you either need a whole bunch of bone meal and rotten flesh, or a whole bunch of straw and tree bark, and of course a little bit of bone meal and dirt. Tree bark's easy enough to get with a cutting board and a stack of logs, albeit a little bit slow. And of course, I've already got a bunch of bones, and I do have a little bit of rotten flesh. Straw you can get from crushing wild rice or rice panicles, which we don't have any of, which is something else I'd like to grow. You can do the same by milling it. You can also get it by stripping blocks of bamboo, and I don't have any bamboo. Or you can grab yourself a knife and just go round chopping grass for a while, and eventually you pick up a little bit of straw here and there as you're doing this. And why is this flint knife not taking any durability? This is incredible. Well, that didn't take too long, and I've amassed quite a lot of it already. 4 stacks worth exactly. Amazing. Right, okay, so let's go make some organic compost. Oh, there's more down here that I've left on the floor. Not 4 stacks exactly, I got even more. And then let's grow some mushrooms. So first things first, let's turn a bunch of these bones into bone meal. I don't want to turn all of them just in case I need them for something. And let's see how many we can make. If I do it that way, I can make 16. If I do it that way, I can make 14. But that is going to blow through a whole bunch of my bone meal. So we're going to go that way, not use quite so much bone meal, and get 16 blocks worth. And now all I need is more tree bark. And we can actually automate that. All we need is a turntable, so andesite casing, and a cogwheel. And a turntable is just a slab and a shaft. So let's make a slicer. Let's get rid of our little deploying setup over here. Throw that on top of there. And yes, they're still glitched out because there's a problem with these textures for some reason. And if I craft myself a rubbish little iron axe, give that axe to this slicer so that it becomes invisible, and then just connect this slicer to our power. Now what I can do is grab some logs, not that I've got many left, throw them onto that depot, and they're going to get sliced. And as they get sliced, they're going to drop the tree bark automatically, saving me a bit of time, although it is quite slow. So we'll just leave that going while I go and plant these mushrooms. And of course, the best place to plant these for now is just going to be on the edge of the water here. So they've got water, they've got sun, and now they have mushrooms. And it really shouldn't be too long before all of those start turning into rich soil. And now the rich soil was planted, it was time to let my crops grow by getting on with a few jobs, starting with rebuilding my track making machine so that I could start crafting up some more track for my station. And then I cleared out some of the land where I wanted the track to go, using a small beacon to help me dig the dirt just a little bit faster. I followed that by laying down the track where I imagined the station would go, and with the tracks in place, I decided it was a good idea to start sprucing up the area, starting with creating some dirt paths leading from the house and down to the farm, dotting bits of coarse dirt here and there to help blend it in and break up the straight lines. And after that, I burned through most of what little bit of spruce wood I had, crafting up some fences to run along the sides of the path. And now that I'd pretty much run out of spruce, I decided to plant some spruce saplings that would grow into giant spruce trees ready for chopping. And so, while waiting for those trees to grow, I continued with my jobs. Firstly, digging out a very basic basement under the house. This was so that I could add a few more water wheels, increasing my available power, as well as clearing the space from the front of the house so that I could continue my little path and fencing around the front. Again, with a little bit of coarse dirt and some flowers, making it all feel a little bit more homely. By the time that was done, the spruce trees had all grown, so I joined them all together with some spare logs and used my chainsaw contraption to chop them all down in one go. And so, with the majority of my busy work almost done, I decided it was a good idea to do a little bit of mining with my tunnel bore. I was mainly looking for tuff, so I set it loose down in the mines while I ran around placing torches until I found a good spot for some limestone and crimsite. And just as I was checking the chest to see what I got... Oops. Well, there goes my little tunnel mining mission. Right. I better go and see if my grave is there and if the tunnel bore is still there, because it looked like it vanished on my screen then, which could be a bit of a problem. So just along here, down to my latest death, which is over here. We should hopefully still... Oh, it doesn't look like there's a tunnel bore there. Oh, no, it is. It's still going. Oh, good. That's good news. Not worried about my levels, not worried about my death. But I would have been distraught if my tunnel bore had actually died. Speaking of which, we need to stop this bit here and continue over on to... Oh, it goes down more there. Basically, I'm trying to get a bunch of limestone and tuff, and I also noticed there's some ochrum up there, so we're going to grab some of that next. Ideally without being snuck up on by a ninja creeper. Jeez! Stupid skeleton. Oh, my tunnel bore's going to get lost again. Oh, he better have gone as well. Oh, he's still there, the skeleton. He's got an enchanted bow. This could be a problem. Oh, jeez, he's right near my grave. Oh, no, 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 no. Quick, give me my stuff. Run. Duck and weave. Oh, jeez. How am I going to kill this guy? He's got a super bow. Oh, if I can lure him over this direction, hopefully he won't be able to hit me. Ah! Whoa! No, 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 no. Oh no, my tunnel boy. I don't even know where it is anymore. Where's he gone? One. Ow. Ow. Oh, geez, half a heart. I hate skeletons. Ah. There we go, I got him. Right, run, go get the tunnel bore, quickly, 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 quickly. It's gone through the underwater caves. Who knows where it's gone to? Oh, jeez, it's gone. Oh, no, it's gone. Oh, no. More skeletons. Oh, no, there's a creeper right there. Oh, jeez, and now it's fallen down a hole, but it's somehow still going. Quick, pick it up. Oh, this isn't, this is not my favorite place to be honest with you. All I wanted was some ochrum and a bit of dripstone. Right, I'm going to go through. No, 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 no. Right, torches first. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly mine through this little area here, and then I'm going to run away. Now, inside of the tunnel bore, we don't appear to have all of that much. But hopefully it's enough to get done what I want done. But really, I just wanted a whole bunch of tuff to help me build a station. And now safely back home, I've organised my things into even more chests, and as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of diorite, a bit of limestone, a reasonable amount of crimsite, some ochrum, a good amount of andesite, but not that much tuff. But hopefully that'll be enough. And look at this area, it's starting to look really lovely. I've got all of my crops, they're all fully grown now over here. I do need to harvest them to get some to actually build the automatic farm that I'm going to be making in a minute, but I don't want to yet because it looks nice, and I've planted a whole bunch of trees over here, all the sorts of different types, and I was planning on chopping them all down to get lots of different wood types, but I really like the fact that they're stood on all of this podzol that the giant spruce trees made, making it look actually quite like woodlandsy and foresty. So I think I might leave them and just, well, plant other ones to chop down at some point. For now, though, it's time to, yes, build a station so that we've actually got somewhere to park our train at, and then I'll be getting on with an automated crop farm. And in order to make this station, I need different flavors of tuff, and for that, I need to use a chip mod workbench, which is the mason table, and for that, I need 3 bricks. So I've just gone and grabbed a little bit of clay and cooked it up with my smelter, and then I accidentally clicked, and apparently I can throw bricks. And there we go. A mason table. Lovely. Another thing to add to my collection. So now on this, what I can do is throw my tuff on there and make a whole variety of different types of tuff blocks. And I think these stacked tuff bricks are going to be particularly useful for the edge of a station. So let's craft a stack of those. I really like the rounded tuff bricks. So let's craft a bunch of those, and we'll probably interchange those with a little bit of the weathered tuff, some normal tuff bricks, and I think it's the eroded stuff that I normally use. See, this station is going to be the start point of our rail journey, unless we decide to go that way, of course, but at the moment this is just the plan for the train to come down here, stop, and then go back off again in that direction. And that means we need to be able to get off the train, onto the station, and down into our house. So I'm assuming the actual engine of the train is going to be at this end, which means we don't actually need to have a platform for the entire thing. And realistically, we want the station to be 2 blocks high. And that's because we want the station to be in line with this little layer here, so that we can easily walk on and off the train without having to jump up it or jump down it. Now, we don't want this to be too close because we don't want our train bashing against it, so we'll probably start around about this point here, and we'll just throw a few of these different types of brick blocks down for now, giving ourselves a little bit of a wall. And then what we're going to do is put these stacked tuff bricks in our hand, and we're just going to run along the top of these bricks like this with our copycat steps in order to create the station platform edge. That means when our train runs up to here, the edges of our train will actually meet up with this exactly, allowing us to walk across without falling down the hole. So now I've dug a few holes in this. All I'm going to do is go around with a few of these blocks, filling in some of the holes with all of the different textures I've got, in order to make it just look a little bit less uniform and like it's been in the world for a little bit longer. Now, I think the biggest problem I've got at the moment is that I don't know how big my train and my engine is going to be. And that means it's going to be very difficult actually building a station that's going to be big enough for what I need. So I'm going to spend a little while working on this, throwing in some decoration and seeing what I can come up with. So cue that music. And here it is. We've got a reasonably long, relatively simple station. We've got the tuff platform. We've got some spruce seats. We've got a whole bunch of vegetable boxes kicking about because, of course, this is where we're going to be producing our food. So it makes sense that this has all of the vegetables ready to go to be picked up by whatever train we've got coming along into the station. We've got some little lamp posts. We've got these lovely little rope fences. So I did have fence posts going all the way around. But then I realized you can actually just join them together with rope, and I think they look great. So yeah, we've got the rope fences down here. We've got this sort of little area here where all of the boxes are waiting to be transferred onto the station. So this is basically a little warehouse area, if you like. And then down the side here, we've just got a bunch of lanterns, which does mean my sugarcane patch has become a lot smaller than it was. But realistically, it doesn't need to be any longer than that because we'll have proper farms for that later on. And I think all in all, it looks great. I think it really adds to this area. But of course, there is now this big area here with absolutely nothing in it, making this entire thing just look bare and rubbish. And that needs to change now, with some automation to make it look less bare, less rubbish, and slightly more productive. So these are the things that we're going to be farming, which there's quite a lot of. We've got carrots, potatoes, wheat, beetroot, sweet berries, tomatoes, onions, cabbages, flax, sugarcane, both types of mushrooms, melons, and pumpkins. But there's something else I want to farm as well, and that's rice. And the way we're going to be farming it is basically to set up a very similar system to this with them all in unique lines, and then build a contraption with some harvesters on it to harvest all of the stuff I need. However, harvesters are not going to work on certain things like melons and pumpkins, and they're certainly not going to work on sugarcane. So we will need a couple of other things on this contraption as well, but my idea is to just set up rows over here, having a contraption going backwards and forwards, collecting collecting all of the good stuff for us. And then once our storage system is too full, my plan is to compost everything else that comes through so we're not wasting anything and we end up with a bunch of bone meal. So this is going to be, yes, a food farm and a compost farm. But rice. I want rice. Come on, Horsey 2, it's time to go find some rice. At this point in the video, I was absolutely convinced that you couldn't just plant rice. I thought you needed wild rice. So Horsey and I set off on an adventure to go and find some. And according to the wiki, it's most likely to spawn along the edge of rivers, at beaches, or in jungles. Oh, well, I found wild tomatoes and dead bushes. I don't need either of those things. Oh, and an armadillo. Hello, sir. Come on, game. Just give me a little bit of rice. That's all I need. Oh, what's this in the distance? A desert village. I wonder if they've got rice. Oh, it's forests on a horse. Why? Don't sing. No, don't sing. And it looks like over that sandbank there is the ocean. Ooh, cactus. That's something I haven't come across yet, so that could be useful to get. And I think it definitely is worth having a look inside that village, because that's a big village. Oh, it's a warm ocean. Shipwreck. And an underwater portal. And lots of coral. Oh, and sea pickles. Wow, look at all that. Free stuff. Okay, there's got to be at least one more chest in here, so I'm going to swim right down here. Oh, buried treasure map. There we go. Perfect. Okay, it appears to be the area that I've covered, but there is no X on it, which is a bit of a problem. It just says map now. My buried treasure map just turned into a normal map. Well, that's annoying. I guess we can just continue with our rice journey, Horsey. Horsey 2, sorry. Come on, quick, before I drown. Why is it dead? Why do I... What? Why did it die? Oh, it's a big un. It's a big un. Get diamonds. It has a buried treasure map and some junk. Here, little puffer fish, come here. I got it. Okay, buried treasure map. Are you actually going to be a treasure map this time or just a map? You're just going to be a map. Useless. More sugarcane, more dead bushes, more rabbits, more cactuses, but no rice. Right, okay, fine. We'll go to the village and see if the village has got anything worth stealing. Ooh, a desert temple. We'll go and explore in there in a minute as well. Good morning. Don't mind me, just coming for all of your things. No rice and no silk touch, so I guess we're just getting books. Ooh, emeralds. We've got loads of cooking rice, just no wild rice, and you can't plant the normal rice. Oh, geez, this village is huge. How am I going to know which ones I've been to and which ones I haven't? Hello, child. With a small head. Well, target blocks, I guess, could be useful.
That's my archery range.
Well, it's gone archery range now, mate. Oh, you've got one as well.
No, don't do it. It's my archery.
No, it's mine. And if you need someone to still have a target, you can always just stand there yourself, sir. Just use your head. You've got a lot of rope there, sir. You got... Rice! Finally! Now I can bone meal this... No, can't bone meal it. I can What? Okay. If I punch it, will it disappear or will I get... I got it! Excuse me, sir. I'm here for all of your rice. Now, there's a couple more bits in this village I do want to explore because the things I've not really seen before. And one of those is that big tower over there. And there seems to be something going on around here as well. It might just be a little farmer's area. You know, it's just another archery range and more farming things. So we don't need to worry about that. So let's just have a look in this big old tower then. And then I shall disappear. And up here in the big tower, there is a chest with, let me guess, bread. Great. Look at the size of this village. It's massive. This is incredible. This is what I like to see. These modded Let's Plays really do change Minecraft in the best ways. Not all mods change Minecraft in the best ways. Some mods make it a little bit too OP. Some mods make it a little bit too difficult. But things like this where you've just got big old cities you can come across, it's good fun. Here we go. Delete the pressure plate. Get all of the tasty TNT. Open the chests and see what good... A golden apple and some iron. That's not too bad. Some gold and gunpowder and bones is not too... I don't think I need another saddle. I need more room. That's what I need. Should get some armor for Horsey. All right, we'll get him some iron armor. And there we go. Desert temple done. Let's get out of here and go and plant that rice. I can't click. It's not wild rice. It's a rice panicle. I think I made a boo-boo. I think I need the actual wild rice crop itself somehow. And I don't know how to get those. But it didn't, when I bone mealed it didn't give me more wild rice. I think it's because the one in the village wasn't wild rice. It was just rice. And I don't think you can harvest rice. I need to find wild rice. What's the point in having a rice panicle if I can't plant it?
Bah!
Now, this is a much better way to travel down the river. No more getting stuck on all of those edges with the horse, and no more getting stuck in forests. Oh, and what's this? I have happened upon yet another little village. This is a very interesting looking village with a lot of what looks like deep slate and dark oak. Oh, and more river the other side. Ah, handy. Right, let's carry on. I have no time for exploring villages today, sir. You've already explored one. Yes, that's why I got no time, mate. Jeez. Another azalea tree. No rice. Oh, and look, a pillager outpost. Just what I wanted to be coming past today. Oh, and what's that I see over there? That doesn't look like wild rice, but didn't it mention something about beaches and jungles? And more villages? Look at the size of that village. Another city-looking place. But these are wild cabbage, which I don't need. However, they do make for really nice decoration. Oh, you were looking for rice? I am looking for rice, but there's other nice things here. Jeez, leave me alone. Oh no, they're guarding my boat. No, thank you. Ow, I'm busy. There we go. I spy wild rice. I found it finally. So if the wiki is right, then all I need to do is bone meal this. And oh, we do. We get more wild rice. Is that actual? Yes, it is. Oh, wonderful. There we go. We got half a stack. That'll be plenty for now. Finally, I can build that farm. I have arrived safely back home. And now I can... Oh, look, it actually plants now. This is wonderful. This is just what we needed. But obviously, we're going to need more than that for our automatic farm. So behind me is the layout we're going to be going for, and this should give us everything that we need to plant. We're going to have carrots, then potatoes, then wheat, then beetroot, then in there we're going to have some wild rice, then tomatoes, then onion, then we're going to have cabbage and flax. And they're all of the things that can be harvested with harvesters. Then we've got some water so we can plant some sugarcane next to it. Next to that, we're going to be growing our pumpkins and our melons in a line. So we'll have pumpkins, then melon, then pumpkins, then melon. Then we're going to have our mushrooms like that, which also need harvesting actually, so I might move those to those end. That makes more sense. Let's do that. So we'll just dig a little bit of rich soil here, and then they're going to alternate red and brown mushrooms on that bit there. And then right at the end over here is going to be our sweet berry bushes. And that's it. That also needs a harvester, but that's fine being at this end because I want that as far away from me as possible so I'm not constantly tripping over it as I'm walking through the farm, cutting my shins to shreds. So all I need to do now is just run this back as far as I can along this area, plant all of the seeds, and then just build a contraption to harvest it. And there we go, that's everything planted. I'm just one rice short, so I need a little bit more bone meal. But there's something else I can do, and I believe with this rope, I can actually make the tomatoes grow taller, but I'm not exactly sure how that works. So I guess I need to look at that wiki again. Place ropes vertically above your tomato vines to let them climb upward, reaching up to 3 blocks high. This triples your yield per horizontal space. The vines will climb naturally over time and can even be used as ladders for climbing. So basically, we could get a whole bunch of tomatoes just from adding a little bit of rope on top. I don't know if I need more than 1 layer because that's technically going to be 2 layers. So do I need to go up above this again? And if so, how do I place more on top? No, I can't add any more on top. So I guess you just have the 1 and that allows it to grow 3 blocks high. We'll have to keep our eye on that. Well, that's the lighting and the aesthetics sorted, and I quite like it. Now all I've got to do is build the contraption, build an offloading and storage system, and then some way of diverting everything into compost if we've got too much of it. And these vines can actually go 3 tall. I figured out that I can actually add the rope on top of it. I think the vines have already got to grow onto the second layer before they'll allow rope on top. Or maybe I was just misclicking the first time I did it. But either way, we've now got 3 tall tomatoes. In terms of equipment, we're going to need 13 harvesters, I believe, and 2 saws. And harvesters are just andesite alloy and iron sheet, and saws are just iron sheet and iron. So that should be nice and easy. In order to make a bunch of andesite casing quickly, I'm just going to replace this deployer with some andesite alloy and throw some strip logs in there. They should all just come through as casing, so that's good. That does mean, however, that I'm going to have to make a whole bunch more andesite alloy, so let's just throw the nuggets and some andesite in there and get that cooking, and I'm going to press these iron ingots on my press into iron sheet. This shouldn't take too long at all. I'm also going to need a controller rail, which means I need electron tubes, a reasonable amount of gold and some redstone, And I'm also going to need some normal rail and probably some powered rail as well. So there's the controller rail, there's a bunch of powered rail, and there's a bunch of normal rail. Now we're going to make our 13 harvesters and our 2 saws. It'd probably be a good idea to make a bit of metal girder in order to stick these things onto it, which of course means I'm going to need some glue, my cart assembler, and a minecart. I'm also going to need 2 portable storage interfaces and some form of container to hold all the stuff that's on it. Now, I'm ideally wanting to run it along this water channel here, so let's just make sure, yes, we can put the rail under there, so that's good. So we'll have one of those, and then we'll just have a few pieces of normal rail like this. Then we'll just shove in a redstone block down there and put on a couple of pieces of powered rail, a few more pieces of normal rail, another redstone block there, and a couple more of those, and then we can pretty much get away with that normal rail all the way to the end, where we'll have another piece of powered rail down there. And I realize that's a massive waste of redstone blocks when I could just put levers on the bottom side of it, but let's not worry about that. So I've moved the controller rail back a couple of blocks, and that's because that's where I need to put the minecart. So we're going to put that there with the assembler on top, put that on lock rotation, and then I'm going to do a line of andesite casing along the back for the full length of the farm. And then I need to stick on the harvesters and the saws. Now, the berry bushes need harvesting, but the melons out and pumpkins need sawing, so we'll throw a saw on for that. The sugarcane also wants sawing, but if we saw it on the bottom block, it's all going to disappear. So we actually need to saw those on the block above. So let's just throw that on there. Everything else needs harvesting, which includes the flax and the cabbage and the onions. And for the tomatoes, because they're 3 blocks high, I'm assuming I need 3 harvesters rather than just one at the bottom. So let's just stick those on there, and then everything else just wants harvesters along there like that. But that all looks a little bit clunky to me. I don't really want the andesite casing as part of this. I'd rather have another block, and that's why I made the girders. But unfortunately, the girders don't really attach ever so well to it. Oh, I suppose I could do it that way around and then they attach a bit better. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, I suppose. Looks a bit odd, but I feel like that's slightly better than the andesite casing because it doesn't stick to all of the fences. So now let's glue all of this girder and everything together, just like that. And then all we need is our portable storage interface and our storage. And I don't really want those to be visible. I want it all hiding. So what I'm going to do is come over here where our cart assembler is and just shove those down underneath it for now. So we'll have a barrel there, which will just go through the floor. It won't affect anything. And a barrel there. Let's just get those stuck on. And the portable storage interface, I feel like we should probably have right at this end, sticking out down the bottom of that one. Just there, like that. So let's glue that on there. And then we'd have another one underneath, which takes the items out down there so they can connect. Now, as far as I'm aware, that is the contraption complete. All I need to do is power this minecart assembler. And there we go, it's already going off. It is harvesting. And it appears to be harvesting pretty much everything, I believe. But it's now stopped because I've used normal rail and not powered rail all the way along. And there we go. That is the last little bit of powered rail all connected. It's all lit, which is fantastic. So if I give the minecart a bit of a shove now, that should continue to the end. There he goes. It's doing it. It is chopping everything. There's not much it's left behind. Even the mushrooms it's managed to get. Yep, it's done everything. Although, did it manage to get this first row? I'm not sure. And I'm not sure it managed to get any rice from that. We'll find out when we look in the barrel. Yeah, I don't think that got any rice at all. It didn't. It got no rice. But it does look like it's got everything else, which is fantastic. And nothing looks like it's just been left on the floor, so it's definitely picked everything up. So how do I get that rice? Sure, I've used harvesters for rice before. So finally we get to come to my test world in my shiny new garage to try and test rice. You see, I could have sworn in my first Create FXNT Modpack Let's Play that I was harvesting rice with a harvester. Well, maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm misremembering. But yeah, the harvester on rice does absolutely nothing at all. So let's just extend this a little bit this way and try drills and plows and saws. Get rid of the cart assembler and off it goes. Ah, one of them did it, but it completely destroyed them, the plow. The plow absolutely destroyed them, so that's no good. And all it did was generate rice. Now, I definitely can't plant the rice panicle, but I can plant normal rice? What? After all that, I could just plant rice? I what? Oh my goodness me. My memory is awful. So I had rice. I didn't need to do any of this. I'm such a moron. So if I grow all this fully, oh my goodness me. How many of you in the comments, let's be honest, have been screaming at me for this entire video? I knew I could harvest rice. So yeah, let's grow the bit in front of the harvester and see which of these tools can actually harvest the rice. And I know it's the harvester. See, the harvester's just harvested the rice. The plow just destroys it, so we definitely don't want to be using... Oh, actually, no, the plow just took the top off. Does that... Can I regrow it? I can. But the drill does nothing, and the saw does nothing. But the plow, is that actually giving us anything? Yes, it is. It's giving us panicles, the plow. Whereas the harvester... Yeah, the harvester's the way to do it. I can't believe I can plant rice. I'm so dumb! Excuse me a minute while I die a little bit of shame and collect all of the rice that I've been collecting, and then go and replant it. Don't need any of this wild rice. Didn't need to go on any adventures. But adventures is what makes the Let's Play fun, right? Maybe, possibly. Stupid rice. Plant the normal rice. This crop won't survive, well, outside shallow water. Not outside shallow water. It's in shallow water. Now I need more rice. A bit more rice in here. Get these rice panicles, turn those into rice. There we go. Lovely. And I think... Oh, we're one short. Grow. I need more. And there we go. We now have rice all the way along there. Now I've just got to wait for it to grow before I can harvest it again. And while I'm waiting for it all to grow, I'm going to start working on this storage and offloading system, which is all going to go underground. And I think it would probably make sense to have the storage system for this in the house, ideally. But this is more of my workshop, isn't it? So maybe not. Maybe we need like a little barn to put it all in, which is even more building. Oh, geez. Well, I think I'm about ready to test this thing. As you can see next to me, we have some chutes going to my little barn upstairs. And down here, we've got some conveyor belts coming away from our storage interfaces, which are connected to the harvester, which has just been out and come back again because I've connected this timer, which is basically going to set the harvesters off every 10 minutes, meaning it's got 10 minutes worth of growth time before it will go out and come back again. Once it comes out, it's going to come through here. It's going to go through this brass funnel, onto the belt, through into that wall, and at which point it's going to get blown up this tube by a fan. We should see things going up there in a minute. There we go. There are the potatoes going up that tube, and here they come. They're starting to flow in quite nicely. None of these drawers have got storage upgrades or anything like that on there. None of the drawers are locked, and we've got no void upgrades, and it all needs organizing properly. And of course, I've got no composting set up yet, which is why there was a lot more room available downstairs. And here we are in my little barn with all of the storage drawers now fitted, all of the items now organized, and I've been thinking about how I can sort out this composting system. So I was planning on using a threshold switch to monitor how many items were in the storage system and then just spit out anything that we didn't have, but that wasn't a very efficient way of doing it. And then it occurred to me, if I have a spare storage drawer like this one that's just unlocked, hopefully when things come in, they're going to choose to go into the drawer that is locked for that item, and any excess will go into that extra drawer, which we can then funnel directly into a composter system. My only concern with that is that if the items go into there first, instead of into, let's say, potatoes first, assuming it's a potato, then they're just going to get straight composted and not go in there. So I guess now I should just go AFK for a while, let some of these drawers start filling up, and see if we can figure out how this system works. Or what I could do is make a storage downgrade using some flint and these upgrade templates, and then I can significantly reduce how many items are allowed to go in these chests. And I'm going to pick potatoes since I've got a bunch of those, so let's just add that in there. I can only put one of them in there, and that should mean I can't have any more than a stack of potatoes in that drawer. So now if I try and put potatoes in there, they won't go in even though there's space for them. Oh, that's interesting. But if I go and stick those into the chutes, I believe they will transfer. So let's just throw a stack of spuds on there and see where they end up. And yeah, they've gone straight into there. Now I'm going to remove those and remove those, Go and throw a stack of potatoes back on that belt again and see which drawer they go in first. So we know we can only have a stack. Let's throw those in there, go back up to the top and see where they are. And they're gone in there. So we can use this system for voiding off items into compost. And now we need to figure out what can be composted. Now we know all of the vanilla things can be. I don't know if pumpkins can be, can they? They can. That's good. Can sugarcane? It can. And I'm assuming mushrooms. Yeah, mushrooms definitely can be. What about cabbage? Yep. Flax? Yep. Tomatoes? Yep. Onions? Yep. Rice? Yep. Straw? Yes. Cabbage seeds? Yes. Flax seeds? Yes. Rotten tomatoes? Yes. And rotten potatoes? No, you can't compost poison potatoes. So that's the only thing we're collecting that I can't compost. So I'm going to have to make sure none of those end up in our composting system. And the way I can do that is by making sure that's definitely got a void upgrade on it. Nothing else wants void upgrades on them. They all just want a bunch of stack upgrades, which is easy. Well, it's easy assuming I've got a whole bunch of iron now from my iron farm, which has been sat here all day while I've been doing all this stuff. And another 40 blocks of iron's worth of iron in there. Excellent. I'll take it. And I can make 60 of those. There are 25 storage drawers, but only 24 of them need upgrades. So if I get 48 of these, then each one of the storage drawers I cares about can have 2 iron upgrades, allowing them to have 512 stacks of items in each one, which is roughly 32,000 items per storage drawer, which is actually quite a lot when we're just talking about raw food ingredients. I don't actually think I want to have any in the poisoned potato one, but I believe the rotten tomatoes are actually quite useful. Yes, they can be used to make biomass, which can be used to make biofuel, which can be used for superheating. So I think I definitely want to store a whole bunch of those. That means all I need now is 1 void upgrade for our poison potatoes and to set up a little composting setup. And for that, we need to come out of there into a composter and go back into there. So we're going to need 3 lots of chutes coming down from underneath this. Going to need chutes that bring out of that one and then go back up into that one. All we literally need to do is throw a composter there. Then I might as well use a hopper, just to hopper the items into that chute there. And then just put a fan facing up there to blow all of the stuff back up into that box. And there was me thinking I needed a big basement down here to deal with all this. For the power for this fan, I can just steal the power that's going to this one down here. Just need one of those there, a vertical gearbox there, and a bunch of shaft coming up here like this. And hopefully that's blowing the right way. No, that's sucking. Okay, in that case, we just need 1 more gearbox in there, spinning around, and now that'll be blowing. It is. So now when our items overflow, they're gonna go in there. They're all gonna get composted, and that compost should then come up and go into there. Let's just unlock that so we can go in, and there we go, it's going in. Wonderful. The system works! I just need 1 void upgrade. I need 8 pieces of obsidians, and I only have 7. But I do have buckets of water and lava. 1 obsidians, please. And with that, I can make my first void upgrade. And we can throw that on the poisonous potatoes. Fix the hole in my floor. And now the system is complete. Amazing!